it blows me away when I hear these stories about people in other parts of the world that hear about Ridgway, little old Ridgway, you know, that they want to come here and take part in this event. Because we are just a bunch of woodhicks. Hi. You are visiting Appalachian Arts Studio in Ridgway, Pennsylvania. We are located on the top of Bootjack Hill, 1 mile south of Ridgway on Route 219.
How long has this been here?
We've been here about 18 years, but we've been carving and in the industry for about 30. I grew up in Johnsonburg, Pennsylvania, which is a town about 7 miles from here. Went to school in St. Mary's, graduated high school and went to college and left. Only to find myself back here probably 10 years later. And I met my husband in Florida. He was from Ridgway, and we kind of decided that if we were going to have a family, we were going home. And you know, we came back here, and it was a bit of a challenge because he was an artist, so to speak. He had gone to art school with a degree in art, and we knew it was going to be more of a challenge here than anywhere else, but it was what we knew, and it was a great place to raise our kids. And it's been a journey. It's been wild and crazy and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Tell me a little about the wild and crazy and fun.
Well, the wild and crazy was the day he said to me, I'm going to quit my job and be a full-time chainsaw artist. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Who's going to buy one of those? And believe me, I have eaten my words, so make them soft and tender. And it's just been an incredible journey. Our slogan for most of our artwork and our events is life exceeding the dream, which it has far surpassed anything we'd ever dreamed about. Chainsaw art has taken us around the world. It has opened doors to awards and just meeting wonderful people from everywhere, and a cultural exchange, you know, not only in art but in communities and in spirit, and just a lot of love and compassion for the arts, and it's just been wonderful. It's the first American art form that we are aware of, you know. I mean, it actually originated in the United States, so it's the only one that we can really lay claim to. We received an award in Germany for opening the world up to chainsaw art. And Rick, my husband, and his brother both went international to teach. Randy went to Germany, and Rick went to Scotland, England. He also went to Japan to teach, and they taught in Norway. So it's just been phenomenal. You know, when you think that, you know, you're living in this little area in this little woods, and that's just how your life is going to be, and all of a sudden you're handed an airplane ticket, you know, to travel, and it's been a wild ride. It's been we carved on the Queen's Estates in Sandringham, in England. And we carved in Scotland and Germany, and it's just been phenomenal. It's been beyond anything that we ever imagined. The Rendezvous was an event that started in their backyard, in Randy's backyard, wondering if there were any other fools out there trying to do this with a chainsaw. And they found 6 people locally that kind of did ice or a little bit of wood, and they got together and thought, well, this is so much fun. So they decided to take this event and go public with it. And in so doing, that was right around when the internet came out. So on the internet, they were able to find a couple other carvers, I mean, that, you know, one from England and one from Germany, and we invited them to come to this event. And we had 30 carvers, and we thought that was quite a bit. You know, the only other events that we knew of were on the West Coast. So we were pretty excited to have one on the East Coast, and people came, the town came out, everybody came out. Holger Bear from Germany came, and Dennis Heath from England. And on his way back, because it was so magical that on his way back, Holger was quite techie. So he started a little website for the Rendezvous. And it's called the Ridgway Chainsaw Carvers Rendezvous. It's a place where carvers come and meet and teach each other in different ways to do things, because there's no set way to run a chainsaw. You know, chainsaw art probably started in a logging camp. And, you know, maybe a logger made a little bear or something, or a bench to sit on. And, you know, once you were able to use a saw by hand instead of the tube thing, then it started a little bit of an art form. Then the tree trimmers came along, and started carving, and then the artists came along. And the chainsaw, and I've said this in the past, the chainsaw has done for the world of sculpture what the electric guitar did for music. So it's kind of like it just stepped it right up and changed it. You know, you see a carver do something in an hour and create, you know, when we go to fairs and festivals, which is what we do for a living, we go there as entertainment. And when the saw would start, people would run. And I would look around and say, my goodness, this is incredible. This is amazing. And of course I was eating my words again, you know. And it opened up a nice marketing dream for me, because that's what I enjoy doing. So it turned into a nice little relationship and with the arts. These carving events have really opened up the world as far as industry goes. It's really an industry. It's no longer just an event or a festival. Chainsaw art is also an industry, and there's more bars, different kinds of chains. I mean, I'm really not the aficionado that knows everything about it, but I know they use a lower pitch chain and they sharpen it a little different. They break down one of the rakers. I mean, there's as much to learn about the saw as there is the art form itself. And you know, and that's what the rendezvous is so important for, because then they can get together and see, how did you do this and how did you do that? And when they come here, they don't exactly do what they're known to do or what they do when they win events. They're here to try something new, because there's no judging, it's more of a symposium than it is a festival or an art, you know, it's not a competition. So the carvers love that. They love coming here, and they love the camaraderie and the sharing and the learning. And it's just, you know, we've had, probably over the years, we've probably had 500 carvers come through Ridgway, and they love it, and they come back. When we started this art form, or started these events, I would say chainsaw art was a primitive art form. Okay, so then it went from primitive to maybe a folk art form. And I interviewed, several years ago, probably 2012 or 13, at the American Folk Art Museum in New York City, and sat down with the curator there, who told me that, you know, you've gone from primitive art to contemporary art. This is more of a contemporary art form now. And the detail and the things that these artists can do, it will just blow you away. I mean, they do 30-foot tall carvings. They do 4-inch carvings, you know. I mean, take your pick, and anywhere in between, in any price range. And it's affordable art. You know, it's affordable, and it's done quicker, where in the past, if you bought a carving that someone chiseled by hand, it would take them months and months and months, and you'd pay $30,000, $40,000 for a piece of art, and it's not that anymore. And it brought it down to a level where most people can take something home if they like it. Bears, 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 bears pay bills, that's what carvers say. I say bears are self-portraits. I can look at a bear and tell you pretty much what carver carved that bear. So I think that's a lot of fun for me. You know, I've said that before, and they just look at me and laugh, but I think bears are self-portraits. A good little story, Dennis Beach from Wapalapa, Pennsylvania, is probably a world champion. Denny is, he's just an amazing human being, let alone a great carver. And he was kind of, you know, popular, and when he was at the rendezvous one year, we had 25 Japanese carvers come. And when Dennis Beach started his saw, you could see them running through the field to go down to watch Dennis carve. So yeah, there's a lot of that influence and inspiration from each other. Our name of our studio is Appalachian Arts Studio, and we chose that name because we really feel this is untapped Appalachia. You know, from Pittsburgh south, the Appalachians get a lot of recognition, especially for arts and music. But I will tell you, there is so much talent in this area and north that it needs to be shown and reviewed. And I think the Pennsylvania Wilds, that whole program, that whole startup, really, really helped bring this into focus for the artists in this area.
And when you use that word Appalachia, what does that hold for you? What kind of meaning?
that's roots, that's music, that's art, that's family, it's huggable, as you said. It's love. It's a whole culture in its own right. I mean, it's hiking, biking, canoeing, carving, you know, it's all of the things that you love to do. And, you know, and I feel fortunate that we do live here. For, you know, trying to run away as a young person and then to come back and embrace it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah.
People say, oh, if you guys were in a city, you'd be making a fortune. Well, we're not in the city and we're not making a fortune, but we certainly have a very rich life. I once told my brother that I lead a rich life for a poor person, and he looked at me and said, "How do you do that?" Ridgway is a beautiful community. You know, Ridgway was the lumber capital of the world at one time. Some of the richest men in the world lived here at the turn of the century. And I never really understood it until I went to New York City and visited the Lumber Heritage Museum, the Tenement Housing Museum, where when you walked through that museum, it was all the woodwork that was created at the Hyde Murphy plant here in Ridgway. And you know, it was all the woodwork, the Hyde Murphy signature woodwork that's all over the state of Pennsylvania and New York City. They built the tenement houses. So yeah, a lot of money was generated through Ridgway at one time, and it is still just a very cultural, beautiful little community. It's the gateway to the National Forest, and there's a lot of beauty here. I mean, it's a pretty little town, and I'm happy to live here. Over the years, the Rendezvous has grown exponentially. I mean, it has gone from 30 carvers to, I think the most we ever had was 237 carvers, which were too many carvers. Our town could not sustain that much. I mean, it was pandemonium. It was a party out of control. But anyway, so we're back now. We have a beautiful place to have this event. It's at the Ridgway Mills Campground, which was an old lumber mill. And you know, and I have to give kudos to Pennsylvania Great Outdoors, to our tourist promotion agency. Over the years, we have gone from maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people attending this event to well over 40,000 people coming. And this year, thanks to them once again, we've noticed that we are reaching over 1 million people. So I'm very excited to see what this year will bring. And of course, like any event, it's weather conducive. So it will, you know, depend a lot on the weather, but people come from all over. We've had people come from Europe to come to this event just to see this many carvers carving. Yeah, we took 2 years off during COVID, so this is our 23rd year, which would have really been 25. But we took a couple years off, and we're glad to be back. We changed it up a little bit and made it a little more festival because we're able to. We've had maybe 4 different locations that we've had this, and we've all outgrown all of them. And one of them was in town, but that was, you know, we had a crew that moved 5 triaxles of wood. Now, you know what it's the big log truck. We moved 5 triaxles of wood 5 times during that event. And at the end of that event, the crew came up to me and said, "It's got to change. We can't work that hard." It's just, you know, they were working 10, 12, 14 hours a day for 10 days, just moving wood around and moving carvings, and, you know, and it was difficult. That was when it was in town, in 2 different locations in town. But now we're in one place, and it's I mean, it is just very festive and wonderful, and there's 22 acres that people can walk around, and it's concrete. So it makes it perfect for doing a chainsaw carving event. So I mean, it's worldwide. It blows me away when I hear these stories about people in other parts of the world that hear about Ridgway, little old Ridgway, you know, that they want to come here and take part in this event. Because we are just a bunch of woodhicks. Basically, it's my own growth as an individual. You know, I've done things that I never dreamed I could do. I've grown as a person. I've grown in compassion for other people, and I've been able to give back to my community something that is near and dear to me.